I am living in the moonlight, and I live my life this way. Now I'm older, I can see nothing more to say.
Chapter 2. The Government. The government. What do I think of when I hear that word? I think of a government that should be concerned with the welfare of its citizens. I think of people who hold countless meetings and use an enormous amount of paper, who hire many people to do what they should actually be doing themselves, thinking. Look, the idea that civil servants are incompetent has never really been a myth. Everyone in Den Bosch, for example, is aware of the antics of the PTT. This was the company where if you were good at soccer, you had a better chance of getting a job delivering mail, because the company had connections with the chairman of FC Den Bosch. The chairman was also the director of the postal company. If you worked there, you got time off to play soccer. Wonderful. This is what we in the Netherlands call the crony system, and everyone has encountered it at some point. There are also some good ones among them. So this image of a civil servant is the image of the average ordinary person, the average Joe, like me. This does not match the image I currently see before me, namely that of a money-grabbing government that allows the elderly to spend their days in beds reeking of sweat and urine, with blinds drawn, blocking out the light for the flowers. Those flowers are no longer affordable because maintaining them takes too much time, filling out paperwork, and is too difficult to process administratively. The people who do this maintenance, hence the use of volunteers, talk too much and too often with the elderly and sick, which is not measurable, and time is money. It is therefore not efficient, not calculable on our modern and advanced computer systems, which can not only be used for the entertainment industry and healthcare industry, but also serve as tools for oppression and control. A government that tears families apart and makes everyone work to fill the state coffers and propel modern times to unprecedented heights, building even taller towers from which they rule. Their cathedrals, their houses of belief, where the individual is smothered at the root and where they learn to march towards a new fascism. A government that wants to see children quickly raised to become obedient slaves, give them candy and keep them happy. Give them the finger but keep the hand out of the cookie jar. That tempting cookie jar from which only they are allowed to grab. Those who have bought their positions or damaged others to get ahead. We all know them. We know what they do, but we think we are in the minority. A nation that wanted to see Dick Advocaat hanged from the highest tree, only to welcome him back as a human being because he showed that everyone has their weak moments. He wanted to, but he simply lacked the talent. He wanted to, but he couldn't succeed. If only such a man had been told earlier that he was not the right man in the right place. Everyone has forgotten that after a quarrel with Gullit, who left prematurely due to the unclear playing strategy, the Netherlands lost tactically against Brazil by not positioning Jan Wouters correctly. This is forgotten by many people, but I am a football fan and one of the many national coaches. And I was able to develop this through TV. Think of the 1994 World Cup in America, a boring tournament because it was held in the wrong country. A country that still thinks soccer is a sport for sissies. That backward country, America, which with its 200-year history, thinks it knows what it takes to have a good economy. A country where all citizens are free and can do what they want. A country that still has no gun ban, where everyone can retaliate with violence, and still lives with taboos like abortion and euthanasia, and let's not forget, homosexuality. Compare this to a country like the Netherlands, where all taboos have been discussed 100 times over and are reflected in legislation on everything. And that has even gone so far as to legally regulate the right to euthanasia, handling it in an extremely correct manner. The right to self-determination over mind and body, the right to choose a humane death, not determined by others. Who is backward then? Back then, there was also talk that Advocaat was simply not the right man in the right place. Watch the replay, and you'll see that it was really the case. This is a fitting transition to something currently popular among gamers, namely the so-called God games. These are games where you can find yourself in history, in the future, and in many other variations. These games have one thing in common. You rule entire worlds and can achieve this through many levels, with the ultimate goal being that everything continues to run smoothly and correctly. One might suggest that government leaders should first play a whole series of these simulations before they come to power. These games often teach that lasting peace can be achieved in multiple ways. They teach you to deal with daily problems and events in the world, such as floods and building infrastructure. Through this entire gaming industry, a different kind of thinking also develops. There is a bet that the games become so realistic that people no longer recognize the difference between reality and fiction. This breeds people who think that violence is fun. Because one never experiences physical pain during these games, they don't understand that this is precisely what differentiates reality from fiction. In real life, people can die. A person who needs their daily dose of adrenaline and lacks imagination may not always find satisfaction in such a game and may become so agitated that their hunger for more translates into excessive violence. The ideal soldier, fanatic, camp guard. However, someone with a healthy dose of imagination and also looking for their adrenaline kick will soon realize that with enough imagination, such a game could just as well be reality.
Consider a worldwide game called Will the Real God Please Stand Up? You start as a member of a tribe and have to work your way up through various levels to become a modern human with everything that entails. The perfect capitalist, the leader of the entire world, God, the only one who gets that power but does not want it because he is never there. But this game goes differently. Here, just like in reality TV shows like Idols, people can share why they are the real God and want to save the world after 2,000 years of futile waiting and hoping that tomorrow will be better. People can vote by phone and choose the only true God themselves. Such a game could easily be made, but that's not something you want to think about. You could also try to develop a game that truly makes people think and stimulates them to think differently.
All the memories of my childhood, they will never fade away. Now I'm older, I can see they have taught me how to play.